What's up, guys? Farooqi Bros here, back with another video. And today, for you guys, we're going to be reviewing Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and then ranking it among all the Spider-Man films so far. So let's get right into it. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse spoiler review. So if you have not seen the movie, I know it's only been out for a couple of days. This is probably the time not to engage, but we're going right into it, talking about everything that's happened in the movie. So there's no restrictions. All right, let's get right into it. I'll start with myself actually first. We're gonna laugh. I always say it, but my review can be found on Rotten Tomatoes. So if you want to read my written review, it's there. I give the movie 5 out of 5. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I know I called it a masterpiece the second we came out of it, and that's saying a lot considering the first movie I also gave 5 out of 5. So I'm very much interested in what Sony has been doing with Miles Morales' character on animation. I think it's been cutting edge across the board. I think the techniques they've been using are absolutely masterful and a big departure from the Pixar animation, which we discussed last week on stream as well. So I was very happy with it, very pleased with it. Love the storyline, love the cliffhanger, love the cameos. Everything was working for me. So for me, just keeping it short and sweet, I know we have a more nuanced debate about this movie coming up. Simply put, it's my favorite movie of the year so far. There's still time, of course. We're only midway through, but favorite movie of the year so far is Spider-Man. Zayyan, I'm going to go to you next. What do you think about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
I pretty much agree with every single point you made. I thought that there wasn't really a single fault with the movie. I know that some people might be like, "Oh, it didn't feel as complete or as whole of a movie like the first one did." But again, this is just the first part. Like you can see why it'll feel like, all right, they have to leave off some places and leave some plot points a little more open. So then you close it off in the next movie. So really, I found no fault in any of that either. I thought everything was executed perfectly. The animation was just crazy, like beyond even what the first movie was. Like I'm glad they really took the time to polish it and make it look as perfect as it did, because there really is nothing else like it at all, I think, ever in animation. So really just like the mix of the styles and everything in just one scene, even in any given scene, I think was just amazingly well done. So I agree with you. I think it was perfect. 5 out of 5. I really have no complaints.
So, man, I'm going to you next. You are the resident Spider-Verse fan or resident Spider-Man fan in general. So, and you were also kind of spearheading the hype for this movie between the four of us for quite some time. So now that it's out, did it live up to your expectations, and what did you think about it?
I thought it was great. I think it was a perfect movie. Peak storytelling, peak characters, peak animation. I think this is the best that animation has ever been done. Even better than the first one, which is crazy to say because Into the Spider-Verse animation was so good it changed the game of animation. There's been so many movies now that just copy its style, work on it. And I think they handled every character perfectly, and there was just enough Easter eggs, just enough fan service to not take away from the story too much. Um, and the ending was great. I know a lot of people are kind of mad at the cliffhanger ending, even though it was announced to be a part one anyways. But I think even with the cliffhanger, it did have a great ending. I think you can do both, have a great ending and have a great cliffhanger. So now I'm just gonna start counting the days till the next one.
Yeah, I think 300 days or so. It's funny because there's been a cliffhanger endings in superhero movies aren't that uncommon. You can make a case that even The Dark Knight had a cliffhanger ending with the cops chasing him. BVS had a cliffhanger ending with Superman's death. Infinity War obviously is probably the most popular ending with half the universe getting destroyed. So it's not like it's never been done before. But I agree with you. I saw a lot of people were complaining. I think it's a lot of people who are used to animated movies and used to like that kid-friendly experience and not getting a proper ending. I think that threw people off. But I think it absolutely worked for this movie. I think it was risky. Like even the way they did it, I think was pretty risky, and I really loved their approach. But Omer, I'm going to jump to you next. What did you think about the movie? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I think that like the thing that is really good about these movies is the fact of how unique the animation is. Like that's what makes them just better. Eye test wise, like the lighting, the way they do everything, it's such a unique way of making these movies. And I think when you have a character like Spider-Man and you can like you have such a original kind of like take on that character, and you're building like crazy world. And I think the one thing they actually did right, which I feel like a lot of other studios are struggling with, even the MCU, like, is the multiverse concept. Like, they did that proper. Like, they did that really well. And I think that the combination of like the uniqueness of the animation, the score was good. The all the characters were good. So like they hit every single point that you need to hit for a movie to be good. Um, so I just think that like because of the combination of what they're trying to do with the uniqueness of the animation and all the other things are also really, really top tier, it makes the movie just with like the best experience. And I agree with you, Shiraz. I think it's the best movie of the year so far.
Yeah, and I want to kind of I'm going to go back to you right away because I have another question for you, and it's kind of about the cameos because we talk about No Way Home, for example, and how they approach the multiverse. We talk about all these in the Flash coming up, where they're going to have a lot of different cameos. This movie, again, spoilers ahead. I'm just going to get right into it. Has a bunch of cameos, but done it in my opinion in a very tasteful way. You see archival footage of both Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in the movie when Oscar Isaac's Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man 2099 is talking about how like there are canon events in the universe and things have to happen, and every single Spider-Man has to lose a family member, and every single Spider-Man loses the captain or a police officer who's like in that world, and they kind of do like that like string theory of all the Spider-Man like aligned losing one of the loved ones, and I was like, this is an incredible scene. So I really love that. I thought I was even interested in the Donald Glover cameo as the Prowler. He played MCU Prowler, so not Prowler, but he played the Uncle Aaron. So it's really interesting to see him back. And there's a lot of, obviously, there's a million comic book Spider-Man in it, like this whole Spider-Man army. My favorite was Spectacular Spider-Man, the cartoon from the 2000s. So seeing him back, they brought back his original voice actor for maybe one or two lines. I thought that was really good. So I was very excited about the cameos. But Omer, I'm going to you. Do you think it was done in a tasteful way? Do you think this is how like cameos should be done in superhero movies, as opposed to like the Michael Keatons of the world?
No, I think like it depends, right? So I think every context is different. So I think with this movie, they within the context of like their story and what they were trying to do, they did an amazing job, right? The scenes where they're showing like especially the tragedy of all the Spider-Mans losing someone they love or losing someone important in their story. I feel like that's like it is done. It had a purpose, so they didn't just show up for no reason. I feel like with cameos, I think if people just show up for no reason, and you kind of like you can tell it's a studio like it's a cash grab,
yeah,
for the next thing, right? Like when Superman showed up in Black Adam, right? That was not I'm playing, but that was like we're not gonna like I'm just saying like there's levels to the game, right? These guys did it in a way where it worked in their context. I feel like even though I don't like the whole like Michael Keaton and the Flash thing, I still feel like within the context of that movie, they're trying to do something like it still works. It's just I'm a hater, right? So it's fine. But it works. Like within the context of their story, they're doing something within the story, right? So I think the cameos were done really well in this one.
Yeah.
But I think it's different. You're gonna get a different answer for every cameo that happens.
I mean, Samir, what about you? What was your favorite cameo? Like one Spider-Man, one quick cutout way to someone that you thought is the best part.
I mean, Donald Glover is the GOAT, and they put him in, and he was a big part of Miles Morales as a character, right?
He was
as popular as it is. So I'm glad they threw him in, even though he's too old to play the character.
He is too old now. He was pushing back in the day. People forget Miles Morales was only invented in 2012, 2013. He's a very new character in Marvel, and Donald Glover was pushing that like way early when
Zayyan loves Donald Glover, especially
as Simba.
Especially in Lion King.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with you, Samir. Like that was that was a good one too. I think he deserved it. Like you get to like a character he loves so much, he got to be included in that way. Zayyan, what about you? Cameos, what did you make of it?
I probably agree with you that Spectacular Spider-Man for me was also the best one, and I'm so glad that they actually gave him like an important line in like the most vital scene where they're all surrounding Miles and like explain to him that this is just part of what being Spider-Man is. You gotta accept the loss, and the fact they gave him an important line in that scene as well, it was so awesome to see, and I think that was definitely my favorite cameo.
I'm gonna go to the comments because every movie it has a reason to be critiqued. So I want to bring up a critique from Farman Siddiqui. He's saying, love the movie, but the only issue I have is that all the Spider-Man are agreeing with Miguel about the canon events. There's no way so many of them would agree with him on that. That felt a little out of character. Now, so I originally thought the same thing. I'm like, why are all of them just agreeing? Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But then I thought about it a little bit. I'm like, well, remember the beginning of the movie, he didn't want to recruit Gwen. I think he only picked the Spider-Man who were going to agree with him. Like, he was very meticulous of who gets to join. That's why Tobey and Andrew didn't come, because he probably hates them, because he knows what happened in No Way Home. He referenced No Way Home in the movie. He's like, he was sick of Doctor Strange and Tom Spider-Man. So he probably knows, like, any Spider-Man who are too sympathetic to, like, what's happening, he's not going to call them. So that's why you didn't see a lot of Spider-Man who probably would have an adverse reaction. In fact, when I was thinking one of my favorite Spider-Man is the 90s Spider-Man, I'm like, well, why did he come? Then I realized that dude's hella emotional. He would not have agreed either. Like, and then again, why would the Spider-Man from the 2000 show agree? Like, he also seemed like he wouldn't agree. Maybe he turned evil, who knows? And then we saw Insomniac Spider-Man PS4, the video game Spider-Man. He was there too. And why would he agree? Does that make sense? His Aunt May died in the movie. Would he turn to a guy and be like, yeah, we got to stop Miles Morales? So I do agree. It is a fair critique. But Samir, what do you think about that? Like, is it fair that why are so many Spider-Men agreeing that we got to let Miles Morales' dad die?
I disagree. I think it's more of like maturity of the character. Like, they know that it comes with the job. Like, Miles Morales, he's supposed to be like the new guy, right? And that's why even like Spider-Man India, he didn't have to go through it. But then he joined the team at the end. I think that's what sets him apart. When she recruits everyone at the end, it's like that's the team that's gonna go against the canon. But everyone else as Spider-Man knows that they have to go through the sacrifice to be Spider-Man. Unlike Miles Morales, who isn't even supposed to be Spider-Man in the universe.
Right.
He's gonna do his own thing or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, good thing you brought that up, because I had the meme for it. like now I'm gonna do my own thing. But yeah,
I mean, it could also be that he picks the ones that have already gone through it, so they know that this is what has happened, this is what it is. So they're not gonna fight against somebody else's thing, because
I got the sense that Gwen, I got the sense that Gwen maybe would have recruited him after, like they were just waiting for the captain to die, and then they would have recruited him to come join the multiverse squad. But I kind of like it's risky storytelling, because you're talking about destiny, you're talking about fate, and like you just saw we saw in No Way Home that Tom Holland lost his Aunt May, and then how Tobey and Andrew kind of shared their grief with him. But now if someone who's here, like Miles Morales, is just like, I'm fighting it, like I'm going down with the ship, like
also it's good that for him it's different, because his captain or his person is his own dad, so it's like there's a different layer of connection that he has that the other characters, like you have Uncle Ben, but for them in the Gwen Stacy, like losing the captain part, it's always Gwen Stacy's dad or Captain Stacy, so it's always removed. But now this is his own dad, so it's like there's a different angle. So you can see why he'd be different compared to the others.
Good point. We get so much more about this, but I thought let's just pivot a little bit and talk about where Across the Spider-Verse fits in the broader spectrum of Spider-Man movies, which we have a lot, and a lot of them are certified bangers. Let's call it what it is. So it's about now, like, where does this one fit in the biggest scheme of things? So a lot of people are giving their lists on social media. A lot of people are chiming in. Where does this fit among the top echelon of Spider-Man movies? I think most people have it in the top 3 or top 4 universally. I think it's actually one of the highest rated movies on Letterboxd, one of the highest rated movies on IMDb, one of the highest rated Rotten Tomatoes audience scores. So everyone is loving it. The question is, what do the bros think? So that's where we're gonna go next.
You guys already watched it twice? Like, has everyone?
No, I've only seen it once. I'm gonna watch it twice. My second time is tonight, actually, but where I'm gonna have a better view. But Omer, I didn't get a chance to get your list, so you'll go last, and you can kind of just see which one of our 3 you like.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with who should I go with first? Let's go with Zayyan first. What do you think? All right, so Zayyan, I'm going your list first, okay? This is where Zayyan's. Let me take off the banner so you can.
What a guy, yo!
All right, so Zayyan's list. He's starting with Spider-Man 2. Unless you want to do your own list to explain, justify your list.
I think quickly from the bottom, Far From Home. I think everybody universally agrees is the worst movie ever. It's horrible job with Peter, horrible Spider-Man, whatever. We can skip all this to the top. So now, it gets tough in the top, because for me, I do have the first 5 films all as 5 out of 5. And I know you guys don't agree. You have your gripes with first Spider-Man. I do not. I think it's a product of his time. So any of the editing and the weird, like, stylistic choices were just a product of the time it came out. And I have no issue with that. That's why I do not give it any fault. And No Way Home, everybody has. You guys have gripes with too. I don't have as many. I don't think it was as bad the first act after the rewatch. So for me, the top 5 is all 5 out of 5. So then from then it comes to the personal preferences and choices of like the style of film that you're into. I think that I get why people put Across the Spider-Verse or even Into the Spider-Verse number 1, because it just obviously an amazing film on every level. But I think as far as a Spider-Man story, you can go two ways. You either bigger fan of like the pure Spider-Man story or like the multiverse Spider-Man story. And for me, I think that's also why Spectacular Spider-Man is like regarded widely as possibly the greatest adaptation of like Peter Parker Spider-Man outside of comics, because it's such a pure adaptation of the character and it's not really muddied up or mixed with anything else. It's just a character in its world with all of them done very properly. So I think for that reason, I have Spider-Man 2 first, because that's just the type of story I prefer for Spider-Man. I like a pure Spider-Man movie without Avengers or other things or any multiverse aspect. So for me, that will always be number 1, because that's just the type of story I prefer. But I wouldn't knock anybody for putting Across the Spider-Verse or Into Spider-Verse or even No Way Home number 1, because that's the type of story they prefer, where it is more broad, it is more larger in scope. But for me, just personal preference, I like a pure Spider-Man movie.
That's fair, because I'm gonna go to me next, and I actually agree with a lot of your premise, because my number 1 is also Spider-Man 2. And maybe again, I have to look at also the bias that I have and my childhood nostalgia for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, for Sam Raimi's style. I think Spider-Man 2 aged very well. I consider it on the top echelon next to Dark Knight, next to Man of Steel, like these kind of movies I really love. And so I put it on that level. And for me, and I thought about this very hard, because for me, Across the Spider-Verse, so you said the top 5 are all 5 stars for you. For me, the only 5-star movies are the top 3. So I'm going a little harder on my Spider-Man movies. I only have 3 movies in the top who are 5 out of 5, and that's the 2 Spider-Verse movies and Spider-Man 2, and everything else comes under, with Spider-Man, the first one, and No Way Home being at 4.5, and then everything degrading from then forward. I include the Venom movies. I consider them part of the general Spider-Man universe. Like they were even in Spider-Man No Way Home. Like well, Across the Spider-Verse had a Venom cameo. So I think I considered part of the world, So I included it at the bottom of the list. I think both movies are worse than Far From Home. I don't know, John, if you did put them in, would you have still under Far From Home? Or Far From Home?
No, yeah, of course. The 2 Venoms are definitely worse than Far From Home.
I mean, Venom 1 could be the case, but
I mean, Venom 1 is probably tied with Far From Home, but Venom 2 is just like one of the worst movies.
No, Venom 2 is poison, yeah. But so that's what I'm standing on it. I still was debating Across the Spider-Verse versus Spider-Man 2. I think Spider-Man 2 is kind of like the godfather of these superhero movies. Like without it, you wouldn't get these movies. So
cop-out argument. I knew he's going to use that argument.
It started off, Well, that's me. That's where I'm standing. I noticed me and Zayyan have the same top 5. Oh, no, we don't. Hey, we do. Just in different orders. And we have the same bottom 4 if you don't count the Venom movies. So same bottom 6 even. Yeah. So we're actually with the same list.
Yeah, the bottom same order as well.
Yeah. So now I'm going to Samir next. Samir, you can explain your list on your own. I'm bringing it up right now. All right, go for it.
All right. So I guess I'm the only one that's not blinded by nostalgia, because Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse are just a lot better. I mean, they're all 5 out of 5. They're not a lot better. But my top 3 are 5 out of 5, and then I dropped No Way Home and Spider-Man half a star. No Way Home, just the first act is terrible. I don't know what Zayyan's talking about.
I agree with you so much. The first act is where that movie fails.
It was terrible.
It has negative rewatch value. I don't know what you're talking about. It didn't get better. But I like what they did with Across the Spider-Verse in terms of with Spider-Man as a character. I think it did both, like the down-to-earth Spider-Man aspect and the thing about how Spider-Man can't really save everyone, and how they're diving into that. And I think if Beyond the Spider-Verse lands the ending, then there could be a real conversation about if it's one of the greatest trilogies of all time, not just animated or superhero trilogies ever made.
Fair enough. So, Omer, I'll ask you what's your number 1, and then I want you to know whose list you think is the most accurate. So, just general, what's your favorite? Because that you can answer on your own. What's your favorite?
So my list is going to be the most different, the most probably wacky, the one that probably no one agrees with. Because I'm going to go with the movies that I personally just like more. Okay, so So for me, nothing beats Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 is my favorite Spider-Man movie, and I will never change that. I will die on that hill. So Spider-Man 3 is my top one. Okay, and I know it's not better than the other one. So like if I was like objectively ranking, then then my list would look a lot like Samir's, because that's kind of like, like, but I would probably still put Spider-Man, one of the original Spider-Man movies, as the first one. But Samir called us out because, nostalgia, whatever. But yeah, so I'd probably put Spider-Man 3 as my favorite. Actually, you know what? I would even rank it number one. It's actually pretty good.
I fine. Give it. Yeah,
I
stand on the hill. Hey,
rewatched
you're
it. It
stand
was
hill,
not
stand on the hill. I prefer a strong opinion than a weak one. If you have
Yeah,
a strong
I'll take
opinion, stand on it.
Spider-Man 3. Okay, and then I'll put Across the Spider-Verse. Then I'll put the first Spider-Verse movie. Then I would put
Bro is not saying Spider-Man 2.
I'm probably gonna put Spider-Man 2 then, and then I would put The Amazing Spider-Man, and then I would put No Way Home.
So
Because
no
I'm
one
tired of
felt that much for you.
Yes, I'm tired of the Andrew Garfield hate, and I hate anyone that hates him. So
put him. So where's the big Spider-Man 2 then?
Whoa, where's Spider-Man 1?
It's pretty long.
Spider-Man 1 is after Amazing Spider-Man 2, then No Way Home, because No Way Home is actually freaking garbage. If you watch it, it's so bad, and that's fine. It's allowed to be bad. And then it's all the rest. Who even cares? It's Venom and it's this and
What
there's
about
that.
Homecoming and Far From Home? End of the list.
They're at the bottom, bro. They're at the bottom. I hate
Where did you put Amazing Spider-Man 2 though?
I put Amazing Spider-Man 2 right after. Put the list up back. Put that.
What is Zayyan's list? We can use his as
Yeah, it's fine. I put it after. I think it was the first Spider-Verse movie. So it's. I'll say it again. Spider-Man 3, Across the Spider-Verse, the first Spider-Verse movie, then Spider-Man 2, then Amazing Spider-Man, then Spider-Man 1, the original one, then this is where it gets hard, but I'll actually put again Andrew Garfield's the first Spider-Man movie, because again I rewatched it and it wasn't that bad.
It is good. No, I think it's genuinely good. The first one is genuinely
good. Why are people hating, bro?
Even right now, like what Zion has it at 7.
Even right now, like I gave the first one I think 4 stars.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I didn't go below 4 stars for it.
It was just bad.
But then I gave Homecoming. Everything afterwards 3.5 or lower.
To this day, it has the best web slinging. To this day, best web slinging in Spider-Man.
That is true. Yeah, still to this day.
So, man, just by curiosity, what did you give the Amazing Spider-Man movies?
I gave the first one 3.5, and then I gave the second one.
Oh God!
Story's kind of bad. I mean, they did kind of bad,
What's your lowest score, everybody? Let's say Far From Home. What do you guys give Far From Home? Because I don't even Far From. I only give it 2.5. I don't go like 1 star or anything.
I last time I checked, I think it was 3, but I would bump it down to 2.5.
I gave it 3.
It's really not a 3, bro.
It's not a 3. You're right. It's not a 3.
Yeah,
I just haven't updated in a long time.
Yeah,
I was a 1.5, bro.
Yeah, it's 2.5 only because there's Marvel's gotten significantly worse since then. So there's too many new recent examples of like this is garbage. Like when you look at Far From Home, you're like, oh, this was bad at the time, and now you have like Ant-Man, Quantumania, and Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm like, you know what? I'm looking back. I'm like, that was not bad. Let me get some of that Phase 3 Marvel again. But so I was good with it. That was Phase 3, yeah. So all right, and I didn't put in our description, but you can always follow. All 4 of us were on Letterboxd, so you just type in our names, we'll be there. If you want to give us a follow. Let me go to the comments to see what people are saying. So we have some people saying Into the Spider-Verse is number 1. We have Kyle saying that he loved Across the Spider-Verse, but he thinks it's being slightly overrated in Spider-Man history. And then Furman, he gives his full list of Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2, No Way Home, Spider-Man, Homecoming, Spider-Man 3, Far From Home, and then the Taz movies.
It's kind of like Samir's list.
It's similar, but I would not put the Amazing Spider-Man that low. And he put Into the Spider-Verse over Across the Spider-Verse. I did hear a lot of people, including the next one I'm bringing out, Robotic Uzi, shout out to FRQ Uzi, but he's saying that, people are overrating Across the Spider-Verse because of how hyped it was. It was a great movie, but nowhere near the best. I remember where I was talking to him the other day, and he was telling me that he actually thought Into the Spider-Verse was better than Across the Spider-Verse. That's also a debate, too. Into the Spider-Verse being more of a complete movie, Across the Spider-Verse being one of 2. But I think once Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, it's a wrap. And that leads into our final topic of the day. bit of speculation. Next year, we're getting Beyond the Spider-Verse, the last Spider-Verse trilogy of the Spider-Verse trilogy. If that movie has the same level of quality of the first two movies, are we willing to put it down that this will be the best superhero trilogy ever? So think about it for a second, and then
there's nothing to think about. I have the answer.
What is
Guys, if you have the answer, go for it. If you have the answer,
Now, why don't you
The answer
ask
is
that
yes.
question one more time?
It will be the best. It will be the best because honestly, the only one you could think of, not counting Snyder trilogy, because one that wasn't even supposed to be a trilogy, I don't even think that counts. But really, you think about the best one would be the Dark Knight trilogy, and the Dark Knight Rises is just such a letdown that this one, it's just going to follow the amazingness of the first two movies, probably even better. So it's like, when it's said and done, this will be the best superhero trilogy of all time.
So to put the competition on the board, so just remember what's what. You got Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi trilogy. You got Christopher Nolan's trilogy. I'll count Zack Snyder's trilogy as his own trilogy, even though we didn't get the final two parts. Let's put that on the board as well. What else we got? The X-Men trilogy, or is that 4 movies? We'll put it as a trilogy. You got, you can make a case.
You have the Guardians trilogy.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. Let's put the Avengers as a trilogy. As a quadrilogy,
even as a quadrology or whatever.
Yeah, put Avengers. Let's make it harder on Spider-Man to give it hard competition. Put Avengers up as a quadrology, right?
See, but that's not hard competition.
How's that hard competition?
Avengers 2 is like a 2.5 movie.
So is Avengers 1. But I'm trying to make it I'm trying to put as much competition out there for it.
It's hard of a competition because
there's a Captain
you
America
have a perfect first movie, perfect second movie. It's probably gonna be perfect third movie. So then. It's just a perfect trilogy. And no other trilogy is that perfect in my opinion.
Some people love the Captain America trilogy. Some people love the Ant-Man trilogy. There's the Iron Man trilogy.
None of those are perfect though. The best you have is 2 out of 3.
Okay. How about this? Let's go super in the future for Zayyan. When it's all said and done 10 years from now, are we going to say the Spider-Verse trilogy was better or the Matt Reeves Batman trilogy was better?
I can't say because I don't know what garbage WB is going to pull with the third Matt Reeves movie. What if they kick Matt Reeves out? I need to see the second movie before I can make any judgment on how the trilogy might look as a whole. Because if you look at Batman Begins, even if they keep it the same, if you look at Batman Begins, look at Dark Knight, for me, Batman Begins 5 out of 5 perfect. Also, you would think, oh yeah, they're gonna end perfectly. And look at Dark Knight Rises, it was garbage. So I honestly can't say.
All right, so Zayyan's saying it's most likely Spider-Verse trilogy will be number 1. Samir, I'm going to you next. Spider-Verse trilogy, where does it stand among the competition? Is it already won? But they could not stick the landing. It's always possible. But do you think if it's all said and done, it will be the best?
I think it definitely will be the best by the end. It can't be the best right now because it's only 2 movies. I think the only trilogies that are in competition are like the Dark Knight trilogy, the original Spider-Man trilogy, and maybe the Batman Matt Reeves trilogy if it goes well. But I think Spider-Verse will do it big.
Right. So you're pre-counting Matt Reeves trilogy, but not giving BVS and Man of Steel.
Who?
That's not just
who.
He said who, bro?
You want to see a cliffhanger done right? Watch Across Spider-Verse. You want to see cliffhanger done wrong? Just watch Snyder Cut or whatever.
What is the guy saying, bro?
What cliffhanger was?
There wasn't a cliffhanger.
There's a cliffhanger at the end. It didn't even do anything because they're not making another one.
Oh, you're talking about the Joker one.
You're saying they're not making another one? Like it's the choice of the people who made the movie?
That's not their choice.
It's our choice.
Freaking WB. Who's our?
No, but that would be the only one where it's like, yeah, they are almost perfect movies, in my opinion. But Spider-Verse, just Spider-Verse.
Omer, you're going next. Where does it stand? You at least will go to bat for the Snyder trilogy. So do you think if you put it all together, would you still take the Spider-Man?
All right, listen, I don't want to look. I know there's a huge debate about like, animation versus live action, all that stuff. Okay, let me just make something very clear. Okay, animation is not the same as live action. Live action is 1,000 million billion times harder because you have real people playing these characters, and 9 times out of 10. Okay, voice acting is not the same as actually being in front of the screen.
The Marvel superhero movie is 99% CGI anyways. Basically, animation is called what it is.
Nah, bro. Nah, hell no. Yeah. Bro, no.
What's number 1? If you have
you talk about acting, right? But some of these MCU movies, the acting is so wooden and so bad. And you compare to the voice acting of Spider-Verse where they're so compelling and sincere.
Yeah, they have
you
more.
can feel
they
the
have more
emotion. Like
They had more emotion in the
it's not.
voices than Chris Evans had in the whole like Captain America trilogy. But that's different.
But then you're making my
Um,
point. You're making my point
yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
I am. That's fine.
So then
I
remake
agree
your
with that.
point.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think I don't know. I don't like the hate for the Dark Knight trilogy. I think Dark Knight trilogy is pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
That's still number
The
one.
Dark
for
Knight
you.
Rises.
It didn't end
Like
good.
they capped off the character properly, in my opinion. Okay, so
You
yeah, it was fine.
can't
Fine.
cap off. I know it's a whole different discussion, but you cannot cap off the two main characters, which are Bruce Wayne and Gordon, by taking him out of the movie for 2 hours. A 2.5-hour movie, 2 hours, Bruce Wayne and Gordon are MIA, and only half an hour they're there. It's a bad movie. Bad ending to a trilogy. To what would have been the best trilogy of all time.
I don't know. I don't care. I think the Dark Knight's really good.
So you put Dark Knight trilogy number one. You think Sam Raimi's trilogy is also better?
No, number one is obviously it's the boy, bro. It's our boy. It's
Oh,
the
okay, so
hack,
you
bro.
put the Snyder trilogy.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah, that's
Snyder
definitely
trilogy
right.
number one for you. Then
Yeah,
number two.
Snyder trilogy
That's
number
fair.
one.
That's a fair answer.
Even though
Snyder trilogy,
Snyder
Nolan trilogy.
because Man of Steel is obviously better than anything Spider-Man ever. Anything
But
Spider-Man.
you love Henry Cavill acting in front of the camera better than animation.
Did you see the scene where he's talking to the general, the one that Sheraz really likes, and thinks
That's a
like,
good scene,
that's
yeah.
the only scene where he's Superman? Yeah, that scene was really good.
That's a top tier scene, bro.
He has like max 5 lines after that scene. The whole trilogy.
The whole,
That's
not the rest of the movie, the whole trilogy. 5 more times.
yeah. So I'll take that trilogy over this one. Are we opening it up to like?
No, not yet. But I was gonna go there when I go to the comments. Right now, I'm going to skip superhero movie trilogies.
Yeah,
So-
because if we open it up to like everything, then
No, then it's
Lord of
harder.
the Rings is obviously better.
I agree with
Like
that.
better than everything. So
I agree with that. But
and then I think the Dark Knight trilogy is still better.
so you say
And-
you put those are the only two then?
They have to but yeah, that's only two right now. I'm saying also the Matt Reeves trilogy. If they let him do what he wants to do, that trilogy is also going to be better on every level. So I'm not gonna like. They also the Spider-Verse has to like, bro. They gotta stick the landing, bro. We don't know what's gonna happen.
That's true. Yeah,
But with Matt Reeves, we actually know. We could tell from now that all the next movies are gonna be good. Like you don't have to even see the trailers or anything.
All right, fair
What
enough.
about the original Spider-Man trilogy?
Yeah, where'd you put the Sam Raimi?
No, I'm not big on those.
You love the worst one.
You just
That's
said
the one
3.
that
Yeah,
was
what are you
the
talking
best.
about?
You're like, my 3 is so good.
No, I like 3 for what. Okay, if you go rewatch them, right?
Then
You
why were you
realize-
so emotional when Tobey Maguire came back? If you don't like the
Oh
show?
my god, it was amazing. one and two, okay? 1 and 2, for some weird reason, I don't know what happened, or maybe it was just like the way the timing was, like the timing between making the movies. But 1 and 2 legitimately feel like just old.
Not
like,
one feels old. 2 doesn't
Not
feel old.
not
2 looks
technology
good.
wise, not technology wise. The
Oh.
way just the way they talk, like the way that the way they wrote those characters. 1, 2, and 3, you'll see the difference. If you watch them if you watch them, you'll see that by the time they got to 3 felt like more like normal lines.
I will agree on one thing, that as a trilogy finale, I like Spider-Man 3 better than I like Dark Knight Rises.
Bro, this guy, bro. How do you like Spider-Man 3 more than freaking Dark Knight Rises? I don't get
Dark Knight's bad, bro. Bad. They ruined the characters. They ruined everybody.
It was
for
a
me-
quintessential. Why don't you go on Cinema Debate and read my quintessential
The
Bruce Wayne?
only good
Dark Knight
scene
Rises.
was the scene of him in the prison. That's it. The whole movie was so boring and so bad.
Bro, listen.
That
let me
one
tell you
scene was the
something.
only reason it's 4 out of 5. Otherwise, it'd be like 3 out of 5.
Okay, let me tell you. If you want
Honestly.
to be 92 plus 8, as the kids say these days, then you're gonna realize that Christian Bale's Batman, he's not the best of any of the 3 movies. The movies are really good. Like the movies are really good, but he's not the main character really in any of them. Like the Joker's the main character in the second one.
Gordon's the main character. But
And in the
You know,
even in
it-
the first one, it's really like the League of Shadows or whatever.
they were Nolan. He was obviously smoking something. He made a very bad decision to give 3 completely new characters, which are the fake Robin, Catwoman, and Bane, and Talia. 4 bad characters. Except Bane. Bane was good. 4 bad characters. They are the main part of the movie. Alfred is gone. Bruce Wayne is gone. Gordon is gone. The 3 people who were so good in the first 2 movies.
Nah,
And
Alfred, but the scenes that Alfred had,
bad.
they really peaked. They were good.
I will say I'm higher on Dark Knight Rises than Giannis. It's still the worst of the trilogy, but I'm higher than he is. I will say that publicly Nolan has admitted, I think, or it's been highly reported, that he was kind of checked out on set. He was really working on Interstellar at that point, and they were offered him Man of Steel. So in 2011, he was doing the script for Man of Steel, or the story rather, the first treatment with David Goyer. So their mind was literally, while they were on set, their mind was half on Man of Steel, which Nolan hasn't decided if he wanted to direct at that point or not, and the other half was on Interstellar, which was going to be Nolan's masterpiece, right?
Wait a minute. So you're saying that the only good Snyder movie was actually a Nolan movie?
I'm not. First of all, you didn't say it. You love BVS more
That's
than
that's what I've been saying.
But I'm saying Nolan did the story for Man of Steel, and then the same way how Snyder did the story for Wonder Woman 1. So it's similar.
Demir loved Wonder Woman 1. Loved.
That movie was bad, yeah. So, all right. Either way, all I'll say is that's Omer, you're making a very big thing about animation, but you love the Toy Story trilogy. We talked about it as one of the greatest trilogies ever. Now it's a quadrilogy, but
that should count as superhero because Woody is a superhero.
Okay, there you go. That Sheraz just countered his entire point. I don't know if you hear the very loud noise in the back, so I'm gonna try to talk fast. But you countered his point that Toy Story, we talked about this before. We regard it as the best trilogy of all time, even though it's the fourth one.
Yeah.
Even within live action and animation. So then that proves the point where you love it the most, that animation is
this guy loves Toy Story 2.
Facet of cinema.
All right, let me tell you something.
This guy loves Toy Story 2.
Let me tell you something. Toy Story is still not like I didn't name it as one of my top trilogies of all time.
You did. We'll go back and tape.
And now that you said it, and here's the thing. Now that you said it, now that I think about it, yes, it's better than Spider-Verse. Of course, better.
Of course, that's not the discussion. I'm saying that animation it can compete with live action. You said
I'm not saying it can't. I never said it can't compete. All I said was
you just said it.
There's a difference. Yeah, I'm saying there's a difference in how hard it is to make, like, when you're comparing live action to animation, there's a difference in like how many things you have to get right in live action. You have to get a lot of things right. The casting alone is a problem. Like is like an issue. Like because you can get someone
that make cases harder. You can make cases harder. It's realistic to say it's a little harder to do.
You can make cases harder compared to a generic Pixar stylized animation movie. But something like Spider-Verse, which is so unique,
I think like
animation. I think that it's hard to compare because
let me
the amount of work that went into this specifically is just crazy.
Let me ask you a question. Mark Hamill's Joker and Heath Ledger's Joker, which one's harder to get right? Which one do you think was harder to get right?
Ledger get right.
Obviously, the
get right is a broad question because it's not just the acting that comes into play; it's also the writing. If they wrote Mark, Heath Ledger's Joker bad, it wouldn't be the same.
In animation, no one talks about best actor in animation. So when you take acting out of it, so as a movie, like what's presented as what, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a nuanced topic. I'm taking into account how it's made because that goes into the process of the movie, like what it is.
Right, but we weren't saying what's the hardest movie to make. We're saying what's the best trilogy. So
it's hard to do animation. You have to animate every detail of every frame.
It's fine. It's
easier
to get, to get to the audience. It's easier. It's much easier.
It's not easy. What are you talking about? It's harder.
It's much easier.
You can get any live, and you can get any people just make a short film live action. You can't animate in something like that. Anyone can't just animate a movie.
No, I'm not talking about
but
that.
You can just make a short film of real people.
Screen, the final product, bro.
So you love Spider-Man Lotus? Is what you're saying?
Yo,
so let's go to the comments and see what they're saying. So someone saying it would be the second greatest trilogy of all time, only behind Lord of the Rings. So then Uzi jumps in saying, "No way, Spider-Verse trilogy compares to the Dark Knight trilogy." And Robotic Uzi also has Snyder trilogy is number 1, Dark Knight trilogy number 2, Spider-Verse trilogy MIA top 10.
What's Jan on, bro?
And Jan's laughing about something because of the Spider-Man Lotus thing. But you're laughing at? What are you laughing at? Just Smear's line deliveries.
Yeah, he got Omer good right there. There's your live action comparison.
Yo, he makes a very good point. Anyone can go in their backyard and make a movie. No one can. If you ask the 4 of us outside of Samir, none of us can draw anything. So we can't draw. We can't make anything with our pen.
No, I'm not saying that, bro. That's not even the point I'm making. I'm saying as a product that you put out there, okay, it is a million times harder to get the right actors with the right writers with the right lines with the right everything, and then they actually execute that plan that you have on paper
No. Here's the thing.
harder to
See,
execute live action.
I disagree.
you're right. You're
While
right on
in
the acting
animation,
thing.
it's not the same thing. It's,
No, but
it's really
listen.
not.
You're
Only
right
the
on
writing,
acting thing,
only the
but
acting makes
all the
sense.
writing is still part of animation movie too. Has to be written well. The story has to be right. The dialogue has to be
No,
right.
you can get away with a lot more, bro. You can get away with a lot more.
You can't get away. You can't get away. There's a reason why Spider-Verse is so good.
I wonder why Sheraz is
it's so
quiet.
special because
I wonder if you agree with me.
it hits on every mark: writing, animation, acting, everything.
Films, obviously, there's a reason why like full made films, the production of making it is very difficult, especially on a large scale. But I think the modern, especially when we're talking about the question of superhero movies, the modern superhero movie is so much CGI, so much is previs. Remember, they previs Endgame before they shot it, which means it was already an animated movie, and they just told the actors to move in the same direction and rotoscoped it basically into existence. But
very lackluster CGI for that.
Too, yeah, like I'm talking like, look, I like Guardians 3, but like if you look at the recent like superhero movies, it's a sad state of affairs. So when you look at how bad the recent movies have been, Spider-Verse looks like
Unfortunately, we're comparing the best, so that the argument doesn't make sense.
fine. That's a good counter. But I'm saying that the Spider-Verse trilogy, they said it was thousands of animators, one of the biggest production teams working on it. Crazy, like every frame they did. They didn't even put in a computer and spit out the algorithm to make it like Pixar does. They they made this movie hand drawn, for a lot of it, at least. Some with CGI, of course. But
It's one of the best. I'm not trying to poop on it. I'm just trying to say like it's definitely one of the best. But I'm saying for me to compare it to like some of the live action stuff, no.
You already do compare it because in your Spider-Man ranking you had it right at the top. So you are comparing it by saying it's better than most live action movies.
I am comparing it. I'm just saying it's better than 95% of anything that comes out in the whole medium, right? So
this clip I'm about to put out right now has more like emotion than all of Far From Home.
Hello? MJ? What do you want? No, I haven't found out anything. Don't call back!
So, like, that's Tobey Maguire also reprising his role for the
Toby.
video. And you can make a case he put his whole soul into it,
He was kind of better in the game than he was in No Home.
Awesome. So
Bro, his back was hurting, but relax.
Yeah, well, I think we did ask everyone did I answer myself as best trilogy? I think yes, it will be the best superhero trilogy of all time. Closely followed by the second best trilogy of all time. I don't care what you say, but the Zack Snyder trilogy is the second best trilogy of all time.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's superhero movies right now. I mean, right off the best, but will be number 2 when Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, and then number 3 is number 3 is going to be the Dark Knight trilogy, and number 4 is going to be the Spider-Man trilogy. Only because Batman Begins is better than Spider-Man 1. Dark Knight is slightly better than Spider-Man 2. I agree Spider-Man 3 is better than Dark Knight Rises, but I still Batman pulls ahead on 2 or 3. So that's my 3rd. And then number 4, I don't know, like the rest. I guess the Captain America trilogy wasn't that bad. And then number 5, the Guardians trilogy. Honestly, 2 out of 3 is not bad either. I'll take 2 out of 3. So there you go. What about the Superman Legacy trilogy? Where do we stand now?
What about it?
Is it going to be the best?
Take it easy.
Don't count on it.
I'm not. Trust me. Trust me, I'm not.
Well, you love Superman.
All right, so I think we all gave our scores already, but I was 5 out of 5. Zan, did you give your score? 5 out of 5?
Yeah.
Samir?
5 out of 5, yeah.
Omer? We'll just keep it on the screen until he answers.
Guess we'll never know.
Well, we'll take that. That is basically Omer anyway, so we'll take that as his 5 out of 5. He might say something like 4.22, whatever he says. Yeah.
We'll just end the stream and disappear. He won't even know. He'll come back thinking what happened.
All right, what did you guys think about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse? Where would you rank it among the Spider-Man movies we've had so far? Let us know in the comments and join the debate. From myself, from Zayyan, from Omer, and from Samir, we're the Farooqi Bros, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.